just start with name, age, job, that sort of standard thing.
Yeah, no problem. So Graeme White, I'm 37, second team head coach, lead field coach, and a bit of skill stuff for the spinners as well.
How did you get into cricket and what age was it?
That's a good question. I mean, it was something that was in the family, so my dad played, encouraged us to play, went along to clubs, and kind of got the love for it through that way really, and then playing it on holiday, just playing around with things and just went from there really.
Yeah. Did you feel like when you were younger it was easier to get into cricket compared to how easy it is for kids now?
That's a good question. I probably would say it must be about the same. Or it's hard to remember back then. I still had the issues of not many state schools played cricket. It was all football heavy, rugby, etc. Cricket wasn't really played much. I played 2 games. Then I went to a private school which gave me 20 odd games a year, which helped my cricket no end. So I think getting that exposure and having that opportunity is massive when you're young. Really affects probably the path you take. So I definitely found it to my advantage when I changed schools and went somewhere where I played a lot. But having been and done some coaching in schools, I still don't think there's a good push for it, especially state school wise for cricket. I think it's more football and those main sports really that are kind of played as much.
So you felt like your opportunities when you went to private school compared to state school were so much better?
Yeah, I think so. And I went from playing 2 games a year to 22 games. So, it's quite a big jump that. So I can see how young players get lost in the system and kind of get drawn into other sports or the hobbies. They kind of love the sport probably falls out a little bit and they don't kind of continue it until maybe they're a bit too old and it's too late.
Do you think the cost of like equipment, pads, all that sort of thing plays a factor into kids nowadays as well?
Yeah, I can see why. It is an expensive sport. It's not just like football. You just get some boots and rock up. It's you need all your equipment to bat. Some good boots to field bowling. So it does all add up in the end. It's not cheap. And that's the sacrifice your parents make for you, isn't it? I guess to encourage you into something that you like doing.
In the academies now here, there's a good academy setup. Do you see a lot of good talent coming through, or has it kind of fell off a bit over the recent years?
I think there's talent about 100%, and I think it's the first key to it is identifying it, having a good pool of young players that you can collect from around the area, not just Northampton, but the minor counties and counties around us. And then giving them a platform to develop, learn, make mistakes, and keep enjoying the game, but pushing themselves to keep wanting to be better all the time. And I like to think that we do that here. That's the way we want to work, the way we want to structure it. We have the philosophy: we want as many homegrown players playing first team cricket as we can. It's so important, that culture and having that identity from someone that's come all the way through. I think it plays a big part.
So do you think that the class that someone comes from at a younger age will ultimately determine whether they continue in the sport or not?
No, I think you've got to be talented. I think I was at a state school and I was talented and I basically performed well against a school that was a private school, and they took a punt on me and gave me a whopping big scholarship. So I guess you still have to have that talent and that ability, and then again it's about places having resources to find these young players to take a punt on them, get them into the school where they can kind of hopefully grow and blossom, and they see that, I guess, as an investment for them as a school as well as the player. It looks good on them when they've got a player that's played for England or has been through. So I think it can work both ways on that. But the class system it's always going to be there, and I think those good, great players will always find a way of coming through. Can we maximise it? Yeah, of course we can. But I still think the good players will be found and they'll get that opportunity.
Do you think there's any way that they could increase, that there's a way to increase more children playing the sport?
Yeah, just getting it played across all the state schools. I did a bit of a drive for it years back, and not many schools have equipment or have any kind of structure in place for cricket. And the schools that did were teachers that were interested in cricket and wanted to do it free of charge, and out of hours for those people. So again, it's going to take a bit of work, but I think if you do it well, you can actually increase it and start putting a structure in place where you can get more people playing it. Boys and girls, because girls and women's sport really taking a big kick. You can find a lot of talented sports players in doing that. So yeah, I think if you get it right and you get the structure right, you're going to find these players.
Why do you think state schools don't push it?
I think it's probably the time it takes for a game of cricket. People, I guess people that want to do it, to coach it and teach it as a teacher, being passionate enough to take that time out as well, because not everybody wants to do that. But I think there's, as I said, a number of factors really. Facilities, not all schools have the facilities to do it. But I think if we did look into that and we put more into that, then I think you are going to find more players and you're going to get better players, and players are less likely then to get drawn to the big sports like football, where everyone believes they're going to be a footballer, and then actually you realise you're not good enough, and maybe you should have pursued a sport that you were a bit more talented in. So, it's I found it frustrating when I looked into it, but there's definitely opportunity there to grow our game in school, definitely.
Yeah, that's all I got, mate.